Come on and take a walk with us as we go on this culinary adventure where you will experience the soul, love, and knowledge of Chef Ty and some of her special guests. And together we'll find out what's at the bottom of the pot.
Hey guys, welcome back to From the Bottom of the Pot. Today we have our trusty pot right here and we have an Instapot. So I decided to come up with a gimmick as to see which one will cook faster. Will it be our old reliable or will it be the new and improved? We're going to do a, what can we make today? We are going to make a soup, almost like a stew, inside of here and see just how long it'll take to get done. And inside of our old reliable pot, we're going to do a wonderful chicken dish. It's getting cold out. We're going to have more damp days. So we should have food that'll warm us from the inside out. So stay tuned and let's see what we make. Remember, it starts at the bottom of the pot. So, what we have before us is just a little bit of mise en place. We have cut up a medium-sized yellow and a medium-sized green bell pepper. I am working on finishing up cutting a small dice on an onion as well as some mushrooms. All of this is to get us ready for this Instapot. We're gonna see what the hype is about. So, when I got my first Instapot, I was kind of like, what is this? It's not my crock pot. It doesn't have 3 settings, off, medium, high, 4, and keep warm. This one had buttons. And I was nervous. But honey, once I got past that nervousness, it was all she wrote. I cook everything in my thing on Instapot. Well, I've even baked cheesecake in my Instapot. That's for a whole other episode though, okay? Right now, we're gonna finish cutting up these onions. Everyone has a technique in how they cut their onions. This one just works for me, but by all means, if you want to, and I'll show you, it's not my go-to method, but I can do it. If you want to feather it this way, palm down, and you're gonna hold it, cut once and cut twice, hold it together, and then cut straight down. You can. So same thing. Now the only thing that we've cut on our cutting board is vegetables. So there's been no meat of any kind on here. And because it's all going into one pot, and I do want the flavors to all build, I have a link sausage here that we are going to cut and then put into a small dice. So we'll move that up, that up. And for the sake of, it getting all the way through, we're just going to split it and do what we will call a medium cut on this. Okay, put this here. Now, the other thing that's going to go into our Instapot is going to be some beans. So what I did was I just went to my cabinet and found what I had. Okay, I got 1 can of cannellini beans and 2 cans of Great Northern beans. So guess what? We're gonna mix them up. And this is what we're gonna do. Finish this up really fast. Be careful. Even if you're in a rush or what you feel is a rush, take your time and don't cut your fingers because you kind of need them for later. After I cut this sausage, we are going to wash this cutting board. and then get ready to season and prepare our chicken. Because in order for this to be judged on the correct timing, we have to start them both at the same time. So what I'm doing right now is just, I'm kind of anal about some of the stuff that's on chicken. So this little extra sinew or skin, I'm just taking it off. Not everybody does that, but I mean, I do. So I told you we were going to do a little chicken dish. You see how thick this is? That's like a whole almost D cup right there. Compared to a little B cup. See the difference? So what we're going to do, because we're at home, we don't have everything all the time. Take this pot, and we're gonna beat our meat, okay? Now, I do suggest if you have some saran wrap at home or anything that you could put over top of it plastic-wise to hold all of it in, but you know what? We don't have that today. Got some good old-fashioned aluminum foil. This hand touched raw chicken, so I'm going to take this glove off, okay? Pull me out a little piece of aluminum foil, just enough to cover it, maybe a little bit more, just like that. I'm going to give me another glove, just because, again, we touched raw chicken. And I want to kind of form that on top. Take this, and now it's the time to apply pressure. Having a bad day? Somebody got on your nerves? What did you say? You got cut off in traffic? Take it out on your meat. Just beat it. I think Michael Jackson made a whole song about it. You want to do it as even as possible. And the reason why is because when you go to cook this piece of chicken, it will cook evenly. Now, look at how flat it is. Basically the same on all sides. So this way, it will now cook evenly. And I mean, just because we've done that, I'm just going to cut it in half. And now we have two. Now we're going to take this D cup right here and do the same thing. Hey guys, so we're back. We have stuff all over, but we're about to make it make sense. Okay? I'm gloving up for two reasons. One, I'm about to open and sprinkle some things inside this pot, and I don't want to do cross-contamination. So that's the biggest reason. And two, because I want to wear some gloves. I mean, you know, it's a girl prerogative. So what we're doing, this is your Instapot. Welcome. What we're going to do is hit the button for saute, okay? When you're sauteing, what you're getting ready to do is the same step that you would if you were on your kitchen stove, but it's right here on the counter. That beep that you just heard is letting you know that it's on and it's getting ready to get started. It says on. Now, any oil that you have of your choice, you're going to want to coat the bottom just a little. A little goes a long way. And because we are doing the soup and you don't mind having just a little bit of fat, we have some unsalted butter, and I am going to take just a little, add to my olive oil to bring up my smoke point. And if you're wondering what's a smoke point, a smoke point is the length of time, that don't even sound right, do it, but it is. It's the length of time that your oil can sit at a high temperature before it burns. That's your smoke point. Now, what I have in front of me is some kale in a bag. I kind of took all the air out of it. I squeezed it out because this soup is about to be delicious. I'm looking around for my little plate because we all know that, or if you didn't know, and this is your first time watching me, I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I started out because I wanted my kids to read more and I thought they were cool books, and then I got into them. And now, We are letting our butter and our oil come up to temperature. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our aromatics inside, which is going to be your onions, your bell pepper. If I was doing something with the Holy Trinity, I would have celery, but I'm just using onions and bell peppers this time. Mushrooms, and we're going to let that sweat down. From there, we're going to add our meat, and our kale is going to go in last. And in between these steps, we're going to season our food. You hear that? That nice little sizzle. We're using all of this onion because our chicken dish doesn't require any onions, okay? And if it does, you know what? We'll just cut up another one. I told you we're going to move this around. You want for your onions to cook to a point of where they become translucent, which is right around about 3 to 4 minutes, okay? And you hear it, so it's not like it's something I just did. That right there was about a teaspoon. It has garlic powder, onion salt, a little bit of dried oregano. If you caught my last episode, you saw me and my husband arguing about what we put inside here. This is actually a no salt seasoning, so it has no salt at this stage. We're going to take a little bit of black pepper. I say that's about a 1/4 teaspoon. We're going to add in all of our peppers. Another dish. Let this sweat down for just a few minutes. Everything is basically 3 to 4 minutes. And I just like to move it around just to make sure it's all getting well incorporated. The oil is touching everything. And at the end of it, you will have a great soup. And we're just going to sprinkle and sprinkle. So that was 2 healthy pinches. Okay? Mushrooms go in. I wish y'all could smell this. Our mushrooms are going to sweat down. I use white button mushrooms. We're going to put our meat all at one time in there. One of them tried to stay in the pot. Did y'all see that? So now that I've moved everything, I got it all up in there. We're going to talk about these beans. So, this is our Great Northern bean. Sit this here. And this is our cannellini bean. We're going to wash these beans off because we don't necessarily need the salt and the liquid that they were sitting in, because we're going to make our own soup. And when you rinse them off, you take away a lot of the sodium, because that's what helps to preserve them in the can. And now you take that control of just how much sodium, for the most part, is going to be in your soup. Okay? And like I told you, now that this is all sweated down, you should really get in here and see just how pretty it looks. It's colorful. It actually looks like this could be dinner right here. Don't that look good? And as promised, we're going to go ahead and put this kale in there next so it can start to sweat down. The beans will sit on top. We'll give it one good stir. We're going to add our vegetable broth, about 2.5 cups, because what the Instapot does is it pulls the moisture out of a lot of your food, so you really don't need to add a lot of liquid to it. And then we'll put the lid on it and get ready to head right over there to that pan to do our chicken. The same thing that we use in that soup, we are going to sprinkle on our chicken. And yes, I'm going to season both sides. Because what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Take just a pinch of salt. And remember, when you sprinkle from a higher altitude, you cover more surface area. Meaning, if I go here, I can only get right in here. But the higher I take it, the more surface area it'll cover. Now we're gonna flip it. Okay. I know my plate looks a little crowded, but it's okay. I promise you I know what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is just taking regular all-purpose flour, right? That is until I come up with my own chicken butter. So stay tuned for that. I didn't spoke it, so now it has to be done. I'm gonna take this little flour, shake it down like we mining for gold. And we are going to get our seasoning, because I did not bring it, over here. Pepper. All of this. And we're just going to play with it. Because what's going to happen is, the flavor we want is going to come from this bad boy. Apple juice. Our pan is nice and hot. And now we're about to... That's what you want to hear. And we're not overcrowding the pan. The other thing that you're doing is just getting a brown color on this. You're not cooking it all the way because your apple juice is going to reduce down and create almost like a gravy with the flour that we've coated our chicken with. So, excuse me, little itch. Go ahead and get that going. Make sure we still on high. And then we're going to start our potatoes. So, in our pot, we have our stock. It's about a cup. We're going to cut our pan on to high. We're going to let that go. And as soon as that comes to a boil, we're going to add our instant mashed potatoes. And guess what? We can ready to turn this chicken. Oh! I wish y'all could smell it. Now, for anybody that's watching, it is still just a little bit on the blonde side, and that's for a reason. We have more to cook. Swap my dishes. Oopsie. Get into that chicken though. Look how pretty and flavorful it looks. We have our second batch of chicken in. We have our eye nice and hot, and our water's getting ready to come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to add us some no-name brand mashed potatoes, because, you know, it is what it is at the house sometimes. Went to the store that was right there at the house, which is legal. Got me some mashed potatoes. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I did not like them at first. I had to do some doctoring. So we're going to see what happens now. This ain't the used water potatoes. You see the steam coming off? So now, we are going to add our mashed potatoes and cut our oven off. Make this hole just a little bit bigger. And look at there, we're at 9 minutes. So, after all that we've done from start to finish, and I started this before I browned my chicken and everything. This has 9 minutes. Our chicken is almost done because it came up to a boil. We got a nice sear on it. The apple juice is now doing what it's supposed to. Our mashed potatoes are done. The only thing that we have to do is to wilt down the spinach, and dinner's done. And we have soup for either tonight or tomorrow. Let's get into this. We're back in our pot. It's boiling. So what we're going to do, reduce it down to a simmer. Take our trusty lid, cover it, and in about 5 minutes, this will be done. And the only thing, we have a beautiful meal before us of just stuff that was in the house. This is our chicken that we made with apple juice. We have some spinach and some mashed potatoes up underneath. It almost looks like a chicken marsala, but it's not. And then we made a beautiful pot of kale, Great Northern bean, and sausage soup. So we're going to get into that. You see that? It's nice, it's hearty, it has sausage, it has beans, mushrooms, everything is in there. And now is the best time for both. Time to eat. I'll give him a spoon too.
Take a spoon.
Get you a fork.
And a fork.
And a fork. We'll put these down for our crew. Because I told you,
Crew always eat.
on our show, the crew always eats. And I did no real measurements because like with everything else, I season by faith and not by sight or by measurements. Charge that to my grandmother and how she taught me how to cook. And then, sir, I believe you have something to say.
I'm about to say, oh, you finished? Because I'm hungry. But anyway, we'll see you on the other side of the pot.
Good night.